Let me close.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Let me close by saying, for those of you that want to use his name, you know, in the name of Jesus. For those of you that want to use his name to conquer every problem in your life, let me first tell you, as I head to my mind, that in order to have access to his name, you must have connection to his character. It is the Gospel of St. John chapter 15 that says that he is the true vine, and the branches are connected to the vine. He says, now watch this, if you want something from me, you got to abide
In me.
in me. Because if you abide in me and my word abide in you, do y'all know the Bible? You can ask access. You can ask access. You can have access whatever you want when you are connected to me. Let me pause it long enough to throw a comma right here. Is there anybody in this room connected to him? In him I live, in him I move, and in him I have my being. I may not drive a Rolls Royce, but I'm all that. I may catch a bus, I'm still all that. I may not have a good job, but I'm all that. I may not have no job, I'm still all that. Why? Because I am his workmanship. He created me in his image for me to fulfill his purpose. Here it is. So those of you that are connected to him, that have now divine access, I gotta hurry. There is the dispensing of his name. Verse number 9, the A clause says, wherefore God also hath highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. Watch this, Sister Tanya. This blew me at the 8 o'clock service this morning. The text says that God has exalted him. Not the church. The text suggests, Anthony, that God put Jesus in position, not a vote. Help me to preach this today. So watch this. I'm glad promotion does not come from the east or the west, but promotion comes from God. Because let me tell you about church folk. Church folk will put you up today and take you down in 2 hours. But is there anybody here know that I'm in position today, not because you put me here, but because God has already ordained it for me to be, before he formed me in the belly, he knew me. And before I came forth out of my mother's womb, he ordained me and sanctified me. I'm not here because of a resume. I'm here because of the divine planning of God. Wherefore God has highly exalted him and given him a name that is above every name. It is Luke chapter 1 verse 31 that says, and behold, thou shalt conceive in the womb and bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus. Matthew chapter 1 verse 21 says, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name, for he shall save his people from their sins. Is there anybody here know that that name has been dispensed? In other words, since it's been dispensed from heaven down to earth, we have access to that name. So when you get in trouble, dispense it. I can't hear nobody. When your body get racked with pain, start telling yourself in the name of Jesus. When the doctor tell you something, in the name of Jesus. When the credit is bad, in the name of Jesus. When you get ready to lose your mind, in the name of Jesus. Start dispensing the name of Jesus. Because at that name, half the demons tremble. At that name, sickness is back up. At that name. Be seated. At that name. At that name. The cancer they said you had disappears. At that name. Your crazy dysfunctional children will have to come under subjection at that name. Your abusive husband will put his hands down at that name. The job is released at that name. Everything you want from God will happen at that name. That's why the devil don't want you to say it, but I dare about But not only is there the dispensing of the name. I'm closing. There is the distinction of his name. Because if you look at the word, the name Jesus, in the Hispanic vernacular, somebody may call somebody Jesus. But down there in the Ironbound section of Newark, if you say this name, about 5 brothers will look out the window. Go to the Passaic Patterson, you say Jesus, folk will look, because that's their custom of that name. But if you, in this same particular neighborhood,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
that name is so distinct, God help me here, that at that name, Lazarus heard that name call him from the grave, and Lazarus got out the grave. I can't hear nobody. And that is so distinct that he'll come right to where you are, not where your neighbor is, because you're the one calling. I heard somebody say, if you call on Jesus, he will answer prayer. You may not know the grammar of his name. Peter didn't have time to look up the terminology of his name. Peter was getting ready to slink. He didn't have time to say, Our Father which art in heaven, thou be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is given today. He didn't have time for all that. Because Peter was in a sinking situation. He didn't have time. He just said, Lord, save me. And I do believe that even in some car accidents, you don't got time to say Mary had a little